So this is my update for week 1 postpartum, and I have to say that I'm really truly amazed at my body. I'm probably the only woman that's postpartum that loves her postpartum body. I'm amazed at how quickly the uterus has shrunk back to almost to its normal size just in 1 week. And while my belly has gone down a lot, I have a ton of stretch marks, but I actually really love them. It's like they tell this whole story of my journey of pregnancy. And sometimes I'll look at my son's head and just imagine it coming through the birth canal, and that's really an amazing thought to me that my body is capable of doing that. I've also spent some time the last week where I'll think back on like specific moments throughout pregnancy, and I'll think of them with my son in mind, and that kind of really takes it from just being this, oh, there's a baby in there, to being like, oh, that was Benjamin, that's what he was doing then. So I did have a minor tear, and my pelvic floor has been really sore for most of the week, but it's amazing how just from day 1 to day 2, dramatic difference, and I feel completely different now than I did right after birth, and I'm healing very quickly. The major bleeding only was for 1 to 2 days after birth. Now it's kind of just been a steady, tiny little petering. My husband went back to work on day 6, and I thought that would be really difficult being home alone in this brand new role of mine, but it actually felt so natural. I've really taken to motherhood super naturally, and it's been wonderful. I loved it. I was super weepy the first couple of days, and I would have these logical thoughts in my head and tell my husband, like, just so you know, this is logical in my head, and I don't know why when it's coming out, it's so weepy. And it wasn't sad or, baby blues or anything like that. It was just, I was so in awe of the whole experience and how amazing it all is. And I would look at him and I just couldn't believe what gift I've been given, and this whole experience has been so amazing. So when we were preparing during pregnancy, we read a ton of books. The one that my husband read was The Birth Partner, and what he read in there was that you should still, after baby comes, try to get your 8 hours of sleep, even if that means being in bed for a much longer time. So at this point, I'm getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, and I'm in bed for 12 to 14 hours. We usually go to bed around 8 or 9 o'clock, and he'll, for some reason, as soon as we go to bed, he gets really fussy. He wants to eat, burp, whatever, back and forth, and we'll usually do that for an hour. And the last couple of days, he has been sleeping for 2 to 3 hours at a time, and then being up for an hour in between, and I'm feeling great. I never thought that my body would be able to handle that kind of schedule before I got pregnant. I was super grumpy if I didn't get 8 hours of continuous sleep, and then getting up to pee all the time in pregnancy kind of helped prepare me for that and get me used to being able to get up, do something, and then go back to sleep. One thing that I feel like has helped really well, which I did throughout pregnancy as well as during the birth, and now I'm using it to get more sleep, is to do deep breathing and just breathing in and breathing out. And I realize that for me to sleep, it's a conscious choice. I can either keep my brain awake and think of all the things I have to do or all the things that happen during the day, or I could be up all night watching him sleep. He's so dang cute and I love him so much, but I realize that I have to make the conscious choice to fall asleep. So I will make my mind as blank as possible and just focus on counting the deep breaths. And usually before I do that, I'm like, oh, I'm not tired, I don't need to go to sleep. Then by the second breath, I start yawning profusely. And I swear I don't usually get to number 6 or 7. I'm out by that point. I'm eating healthy and drinking lots of water. I am so glad that we spent 8-9 hours in the late stages of pregnancy making all of our crock pot meals. They have been amazing. My husband's family did come up and they brought some food for us, so we've been eating through that, and now we've just started getting into our crock pot meals. But it has been so nice to just have food in the fridge that I can just go grab at any time. On day 4, that was the first time that he and I left the house, and it was very, very overwhelming. We went to the pediatrician to get his initial checkup, and it was very overwhelming. There were a lot of things that were being talked at me and super quick, and I just didn't have time to process it, and I'm sure it's just because I'm in that postpartum brain. But I left feeling totally unempowered, which was totally not what my experience during birth was. The whole prenatal care and birth process was incredibly empowering, and I felt that it helped us to become completely instinctual of how to be good parents. Neither of us had actually changed a diaper before we had this baby, but I think because of the empowering experience, we were able to trust our judgment and our intelligence. But I left the doctor's office just feeling that I wasn't capable of making decisions, and it's totally my fault. It's how I took the experience. It's something brand new to me, so I will have to learn how to ask good questions and make sure that I'm taking care of him and still making the decisions that we want to make, not just what is being enforced upon us because that's what is done normally. We are a pretty natural, crunchy family, and beyond that, we're also just really well educated and don't make decisions lightly. So I think the whole experience, the reason it was overwhelming, because I didn't have time to know the facts and to make decisions. Now, luckily, nothing was done, because after I left there, I just realized I didn't want to do all these things. I didn't want to take him to the hospital to have him tested for jaundice or get all these shots or do all these different things that it was just not. I wanted to try alternatives first, or know the information of why these things need to be done. So since that day, I haven't been outside other than to go out back with the dogs, and I think that's really helped. I'm just taking things one step at a time. One of the nice things is that at home it's just super safe and comfortable, and I feel like it's a really productive environment for him. So I think I'm gonna start going outside just a little bit at a time here and there. It's supposed to be 62 on Sunday, which is amazing. And Sunday is March 15th, which is the day that I thought for sure that he would be born. So I kind of want to celebrate it because I feel like we were given 10 extra beautiful days with him. So I think that is worth celebrating, isn't it, buddy? So for my final tally of weight gain, I gained about 46 pounds. The morning of the birth, I weighed 194, and my before weight was somewhere around 148. Right after the birth, that evening, I weighed 180, so I lost 14 pounds in baby plus any sort of liquid. And 1 week postpartum, I am already down to 170, which is pretty crazy that in 1 week I have lost 24 pounds. I have no intention of trying to quickly lose the weight. I'm really focusing on recovering right now and little by little picking up extra things and just kind of going with what my body is saying. If I start to get really sore, I just sit down. So honestly, I'm not doing a whole lot when it comes to chores around the house, but we have a baby that is loved and fed and cared for, and that to me is my number one priority. And if other things get done, great, but if they don't, one thing I am really excited to start doing again is walking. We walked pretty much almost every day throughout pregnancy, and I really miss it. I don't necessarily want to do it for the aspect of losing weight. I just really like it as a way to clear my mind, and it was a great bonding experience with my husband and I, that we would use that as our dinner table, so to speak, and every day talk about what happened throughout the day. So I'm really hoping to start that up in the next couple of weeks, but again, I'm just kind of seeing how my body is feeling and take it one step at a time, so to speak. And that brings me to my belly shot.
Oh, be gone. Hi.
That is my update for week 1 postpartum. I'm feeling really great and loving my new role in life. Best job ever. Huh. Bye.